rowing a dually, asking sole citizens to report for duty. Rowing a dually, asking sole citizens to report for duty.
And greetings. Welcome to the Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and we are back. Pardon me. Today is Sunday, May the 21st. First weekend into Invictus, and I'm here with a couple of awesome Soul Citizen hosts, co-hosts. And let's see, who do I start with today? I'm going to start with, you know what, we got to start with our fave, of all people, been around for a long time. We've come to know them as just somebody who's so special. yoyoMeg, it's so good to see you. How are you, Meg?
I knew it.
I really thought you were going to say fastcart.
I knew it. No, I knew it.
Actually had me there. I'm doing really well, honestly. I cannot lie.
Good. You know what, at fastcart, I got to say this about Meg. She has been blowing up with Star Citizen. I've been watching her numbers grow. People are getting to know her. She has been doing these 24-hour streams that us old men can't do. I've been checking her out.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Yeah, for real. I got to see if I had a serious charity to get behind that. But yeah, you've been doing a good job. We've been watching you, so we want you to know that. Oh, and she subscribed. I guess if we keep complimenting her like that, we can get some more subscriptions. That's great. No, actually. No, but really, you've been doing an awesome job. So proud of what you've been doing for the community. And of course, my counterpart, my protege. No, he's not my protege. He's my compadre, fastcart FC. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing, sir?
I am okay. I'm tired. It's been a long day, but it's been okay. So we're very happy to have you.
An hour ago, so I'm good.
You just waking up? Oh my God, you just woke up.
That's one of the reasons why I was late.
Well, I understand. Believe me. Captain Marshmallow, I love that name. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you dropping in with us today. Yeah. And for all you folks out there, we are happy to have you guys here. We hope that our subject today is something that you find interesting. And I know you're used to this. I mean, you've heard this phrase before, right? FOMO, is that you're familiar with it, right? Or no? Yeah. Okay. You are familiar with it. Okay. Fastcart, I know you're familiar with it. Is that correct? I don't want to make any assumptions here, so
Yeah, I've heard of it like 10 years ago. So yeah,
10 years ago. Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you something that I learned about this. Okay. To be honest with you, we always do a little research before we do these shows. At least we try to do some research. And I never looked up the official definition of FOMO. I just always heard what people said. When you hear fear of missing out, you think that that's all there is to it. But come to find out that there's actually a definition for it. And to your point, Fastcart, we didn't hear this phrase 20, 30 years ago. It really was within the last decade, probably, maybe longer. that this phrase started coming up. And so I think that it's important to say that, because sometimes we use terms and the terms aren't necessarily apropos to, what's going on. So I want to make sure that we have what the real definition of this is, and then see how come we're using it in relation to Star Citizen today. So hence why I want to start with something as simple as the definition of this term. Okay. So let me pull that down and let's look at what I found. And I looked at several different sources, and this seemed to be pretty much what everybody said about it. Okay. It is the perception that others are having more fun, living better lives, or experiencing better things than you. Okay. FOMO can be experienced in many situations, such as missing out on a party or other social gatherings, missing out on work promotions, missing out on traveling to exciting places, missing out on a good sale, or missing out on social media. FOMO can involve a deep sense of envy of others or feeling unhappy about your own life. It may also make you feel anxious about not progressing or living a life that is not as exciting as it could be. Yo, I'm gonna go to you first. But after seeing that definition, were you pretty much there with all of that, or did that open up some things there for you when you heard that definition?
It definitely opened up some things for me, for sure. I think I'm there with it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want me to get deeper into it, but
yeah, feel free. This is the time we're talking about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely when it comes to the game itself, I feel it most times, like, especially like during events like Invictus, whenever the show floor changes. Like I know like most people are used to like the ships in game, but I hate that I'm not like there as soon as the change happens. Okay. Like everybody else is, or like the Fury, the new ship, the Fury, for example. Like I want to be one of the first people in that. And get to like fly it around, and yeah, so I definitely feel that now for sure, as well as like in the past as well.
Okay, let me ask you this. They hit on some other categories, and I know, like you said, we're going to get into the game aspects of it later, but just in general, do you feel like FOMO affects you in other ways? Like, do you ever feel like you are missing out on something, or like later on you look at it and say, man, I should have waited, I got anxious about this, and maybe I should have, it wasn't a big deal after you did it, you know what I mean? Do you ever feel that way sometimes with other things in life?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the waiting game. I'm very I'm blanking on the term to use. Like you see something and you get it. Like you want it like now versus like waiting. I can't think of the term, but yeah, that's how I am as a person. I don't like waiting.
Okay.
But sometimes waiting.
Impatient.
Yeah, impatient, yeah. I just had the word and I lost it again.
Hang on, Mori, hold on a second. Moriar saying our audio is low. Let me see if I can do something to fix that. Yeah, guys, we're doing. This is a brand new setup again. I did a brand new setup for Soul Voices yesterday, and this is a new one for this one. So let me boost everything. Tell me if that is better. What did they say? Because I'm looking at the mixer. Is that better, gang? Volume is a bit low. Better, yes. You guys are awesome. Thank you. Helping us get our virtual mixing down here. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. The impatience thing can be there. Fastcart, what about you? Any outside of the game? I'm just speaking about life in general.
Outside of the game, sometimes concerts and stuff like that, and social gatherings. I mean, yes, I think intuitively I knew what FOMO meant, but seeing the whole definition, it refers to a lot more stuff than just gaming or social stuff. Yeah, missing out on work promotion, that's a new one for me.
Yeah.
But but mostly for me, probably like concerts. I really want to go to, but was unable to go to. That applies to me.
Yeah, and it's interesting you would say that because you mentioned about concerts. I'm a big Rush fan, right? I love the band Rush, right? And their last tour was in 2015, and then they toured like around 2011. And they don't tour that often. But on that particular tour, they did one of those green room packages, right? Where you pay like $500 or $700 and you get to go backstage and you get to take a picture with the artists, right? And I remember there was something that was going on that I just kind of decided to say, oh, I'll catch it the next time around, right? I'll do it next time, right? Now I really debated about it, right? And I said, $700, and I blew it off. And then of course they came in 2015 and they didn't offer it. And then the kicker was that was their final tour. So the fear of missing out was legit because I felt like I should have done it and I backed off of it. And sometimes that is what happens, right? You don't do it and you do miss out. But then I'm like what Yo-Yo says, sometimes we get that anxiety, we want to do it, and then we kind of, in retrospect, I feel good. James Brown, that was loud.
Opposite. And then you got the opposite with someone like Anita Baker. How many final tours have she done?
Oh, guess who went to her last final tour? I won't even have to tell you. I feel suckered big time on that because I truly did go. It goes
both ways.
I did go to that concert. I was out there crying, oh, she's never coming back. And now she's right back on tour again. So, but it's not the first time, right? Somebody else has done that as well. Okay. So we all have experienced some form of fear of missing out. And I know Yo kind of introduced us into it. So before we get into Star Citizen, let's talk about gaming just in general. Okay, let's talk about gaming in general. And chat, feel free. If you guys got some stuff about it, feel free to put it in the chat for us. Question number one, fastcart, I'm going to go to you first, and then I'll go to Yo next. How do game developers or publishers create the fear of missing out in video games or for video games? What's an observation that you see?
I don't know about for video. Well, I can't really think of anything for video games, but in video games, you can think of something like Fortnite. They have different emotes or dances and stuff like that that are rare for people to pick up. Okay. Special events and stuff like that. Nothing for Star Citizen specifically, but other games have events too, especially for like Valentine's and Christmas and stuff like that. So yes, different game developers do create FOMO for in their games.
Okay, fair enough. Yo, what about you? What's something that you see that developers or game developers or publishers create either in the game or for a game?
I think it's basically the same as like what fastcart said. I know I do some beta games sometimes, and they have like exclusive battle passes or like those badges that you get showing that you've been there since the beginning. Yeah. Apex is one of them, and I can't think of anything else, honestly.
No, I think that's a good one. Go ahead, FC.
Well, I got one, collector's edition.
Yes. Or how about this? How about
special limited edition when they're saying like as soon as the game goes live, it won't be available anymore. And guess what? It's available again.
Exactly. Or how about when they do the thing where it's like you get early access, right? Something's going to come out. They let you get in 5 days. Yeah, 5 days beforehand. You get to go in, right? There's like this manufactured fear that if I get in 5 days earlier, the world's going to change, right? And then we get in and we leave 5 days earlier too because the game's boring. But there are things that the developer or the publisher can do. I know there is that desire to, I guess that to a certain degree, there's a psychological game that's being played. And I know this sounds real conspiratorial, guys, but listen, when it comes to money, I don't put nothing past nobody. If they know they can get some more money, they're going to do it, right? Remember when loot boxes were a thing? And people were spending, well, I'm just saying, people were spending ridiculous amount of loot boxes because they kept feeling like that next box is going to have that thing. You know what I mean? Or somebody told you they got it from a loot box and then you go and spend all this money, right? So there are these dynamics that they use. Do you think as gamers, how can I say this? How do we get more aware? I don't want to say smarter. But how do we get not caught up in it? You know what I mean?
Honestly, I don't know.
It's tough. Yeah.
Like either you have to just stop playing that thing, stop looking into, like for me personally, one example is Apex. I used to play Apex so much, and that was like the game where I put my money into, like sometimes like buying skins or, things that come out exclusively for big events, or like they rarely come back through. And I used to have like this person that I followed on Twitter, and so like my feed would be like the updates to the stores, and so I'm like seeing these like not only like if I'm playing the game, but also like in my free time. And so I just really just had to stop playing and just stop following Apex. Just like move that stuff from my eye, like from being able to see it. And like yeah, so like just change it up entirely. That's what I did. I moved to Star Citizen. Now I'm doing the same thing here. But, yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: was there something that you did cut? Like, was there a game you ever played where you honestly just cut yourself off from, like, you know what I mean? You kind of said, you know what, I'm not spending any more money on this. Was there ever a game that you actually did kind of shut down on?
Call of Duty.
Okay. Was there a breaking point, or was it just the fact that you just realized you were spending too much money?
Honestly, it was because they might have stopped doing it, but I used to buy the DLCs for like all the games, like Black Ops, Modern Warfare, like all of those, and you'd put like $20 into a single DLC and need multiple DLCs, even to like to play with friends. So like that's another like fear of missing out example. Like you cannot play with people if you don't have DLCs.
Oh yeah.
But because like when's the last time someone's played Black Ops 1? Like all that money's gone, and so like the game actually is. I mean, you can still play it, but it's pretty dead. Like we've moved forward.
Right.
Black Ops 2, 3, 4, like Warzone now. So it's just like, yeah, definitely have stopped. Games that continue to die, I'm done playing, essentially.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Or putting money into. I'm not done playing them. Just, yeah.
Right. No, I get it. Daigoji, welcome back. Good to see you again. And thank you for that sub. We appreciate that. And Envoy 70, thank you also for that sub. Wow, I missed that one. Yeah, go ahead, fastcart.
Can I say one thing
Sure.
about the collector edition thing? So like 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, I spent $150 on Star Wars: The Old Republic collector's edition. They had the Darth Maul statue. I thought, oh man, that's a lot of money. I can't believe I'm spending this much on a game, right? And now it's like, I think Final Fantasy has a $400 collected edition for Final Fantasy 16 or something like that, or Cyberpunk has something like $200 or something like that. So it's like things have gotten worse rather than better out there. I thought 150 was going to be the top that I was ever going to see, but nope. People are, there's always someone who's willing to spend that much on something that they love.
Well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that when we see the price being higher, there's something that triggers in our head that says that there's something really good in there? In other words, do we equate the pricing to meaning that there's going to be a really greater value in there? Because I did like you when Battlefield 1 came out, I bought that thing with the statue with the soldier, and I did the same thing when Elder Scrolls Online came out. It was like $100, and you got the dragon thing, right? But if you see like, well, this one's 150 or 175, or 200. Does that kind of trigger something in your head like, oh, there must be something really good in that thing? Or do you just say, these jokers are trying to rob us? Which one do you say?
What I do when I see the price, I'm like, okay, what is inside this thing that makes it cost so much? Is it a statue? Is it some kind of game experience that they have? But mostly it's like a statue or some kind of physical tidbit that they use to increase the price. So for me, I try to do my research and see what is included when I see that price. But some people may not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to fall into the traps with Funko Pops. Kind of the same, kind of not, but they'll do like the sales and stuff like that, and you'll think like, oh, because it's exclusive to one manufacturer, like the people who sell it, that it's going to be like worth a lot more. And like you see people who like get a bunch of them and try to resale. Right. I went from like being passionate about Funkos to thinking like, oh, like this one, I should get this one because it's worth a lot.
Yeah.
And I stopped. That's another thing, not a video game, but stopped buying Funkos pretty much.
Yeah. Annaline, FOMO is fear of missing out. That's what we're talking about today. The fear of missing out on things. Let's jump to the second question here then. Have you ever been a victim of FOMO in a video game? Was there a game, and I know you mentioned, was it Fortnite? No, it wasn't Fortnite. What was you said, Yo-Yo, was that pulled you in?
Apex.
Possibly. It was Apex. Yeah, Apex. Okay. Fastcart, what about you? Was there a game that pulled you in that you You just had to get
Several
into it
games,
once you.
Griffin, because I play mobile games, so I play a lot of gacha games. So it's like whenever there's a new character come out or new equipment for a character that comes out, they say, "Oh, you got to get this because this is a meta change, and because you know that last character that we put out, this will beat that last character. So this is you better get this thing." So yeah, sometimes I'm a victim of it. Sometimes I'm like, "No, I'm gonna save until there's the character I really want." And yeah, so yes, this happens a lot in gacha games or mobile games specifically.
Okay, let me hit you one more time. And other than Star Citizen, we won't. We're not on Star Citizen yet. What game got you the most that you just got pulled into? That's for UFC.
Oh, that's to me. I'm sorry. Oh, there's a Gundam game on mobile a few years ago because you know, I'm a huge anime fan. People probably know. There's a Gundam mobile suit that had like 6 pieces: the arm, chest, head, feet, and legs. Sorry, so it's like 5 pieces. And in order to complete the set, you got to get the whole set. But if you don't, but it's random, right? So you keep pulling until you complete the set. But sometimes in game will have a feature that if you have 4 pieces of a set that's not what you want, you can collect, you can put them all into this thing and get the piece that you want. But you know that's 4 pieces that you probably won't need or more money you have to put into the game in order to get. So yes, I got this one from Gundam 0083 that for your old school out there. Yeah, mobile, so I just had to have it. And I spent too much money on that thing.
Jeez, I'm always blown away by the whole mobile game industry thing. Is that we had a guy in test who was a truck driver, and he used to tell us he spent $2,000 a month on mobile games only. I was just like, I'm like, oh my God, 2,000 a month. That's like how many computer rigs a month, you know? It's like,
and that's kind of a drop in a bucket.
Yeah, I know.
Some of these mobile games are making millions per day, millions per hour.
So. That's right, they sure are.
People are complaining about how Star Citizen has 500 million, but that's over 10 years. That's not really anything in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of money that's being made out there. Okay, well that's it. And you already told us Apex Legends was yours.
Yep.
Okay, you ready for mine? I know y'all gonna laugh when I tell y'all this.
Yep.
PlayStation Home on the PlayStation 3.
Oh yeah, I heard this story. Yeah.
That sucker sucked the life out of me because there was they had this thing where you could decorate your house, but what they had in their fast cart was mansions. And dude, I was buying the big fountain out in front, the big cars, the carpeting that was made out of a tiger. Oh, it was so much crazy. Then my daughter got into it, then I was buying her stuff and my stuff. And then that sucker was in beta. Then one day they said, in 30 days, we're shutting this down. It was nice seeing you. And I went out the window. So I completely lost it all. I know I probably spent a couple grand.
You have a comrade at arms and died.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, yeah. You remember that? Wasn't it amazing? People have no idea. That was the multiverse on PlayStation back in the day. And it was amazing. And anyway, it went out the window. Yeah, God forbid, Malcari, don't even start talking about The Sims, because I know a lot of people have sunk tons of money into The Sims. I never monkeyed around with that. That looked like nothing but crack. Nothing but crack. That was nothing but crack. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next one here. All right, question number 3. Is the FOMO real when it comes to Star Citizen? Fast Card, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Is FOMO real, the fear of missing out when it comes to Star Citizen?
I think it depends on person to person, but for me it is, and it depends on the ship and the sale and the what role a particular ship may serve. So for me, yeah.
Okay, devil's advocate. What do you miss? What do you fear of missing out on? Waiting for it to come out? I'm just asking.
No, not rising to the full potential of the role that I want to play in game.
Okay.
After the game launch, so that's what it is for me. But I mean, you know the old saying, CIG is not holding a gun to your head; they're not forcing you to buy anything, and that's true.
Okay.
So
true.
yeah.
Well, Bluesy says nope, just the fear of the rising ship prices. Can you always get a ship at what the price is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a real thing.
now is that, let me ask you, yo, is CIG creating FOMO? You know, that whole thing that we know that when it's a concept, it's cheaper, but maybe the next time they put it on sale, it's going to go up. And then if it gets released, we know it's definitely going to come up. Or is that like them creating that feeling?
Yeah, I definitely think whether they're meaning to or not, it definitely creates FOMO. Because I mean, I was talking about it earlier, and I think somebody brought up how the BMM used to be like $200, now it's $600.
Yeah.
So just things like that, like you're like, man, like for me, I don't think I want the BMM, but like I'm like, dang, people really missed out on how cheap that was. Like now people have to pay like so much. So it's not more so missing out on like the potential to get something, because you can still get it. Some things, obviously not things like the Saber Raven, and I mean you should probably still. I don't know. I'm talking in circles now, but yeah, I mean, yeah, just the concept for sure, because
Yo,
you're going to miss out.
Your concept, lower price LTI, right? That all comes right at that first stage, right? That makes you lick your chops a little bit, because it's like, well, I could get that bad fella.
I have news for you. I am part of the BMM $250 club, but you said $600. I have news for you. It is $650 now. So.
Okay, all right. Well, there you go. Yeah.
Creeping up.
The spirits almost got me, but I have not bought a concept ship yet.
Okay,
but
you're holding out.
Star Citizen is definitely pulling me more and more.
Okay.
One of us.
Yeah, one of us. Yeah, I know Kai's over there screaming and pulling his hair out right now. Don't worry, Kai. We're gonna get to that. All right. That's one of the questions that we're definitely gonna get to that. Is the FOMO real? You know, is it a business practice that is calculated? I think it is. It's definitely a calculated business practice, and I think there's a tight wire rope that they have to do with that. That they figured out what we are willing to pay and what we're willing to accept versus what we will just say, I'm not paying that. I'll just wait, you know, because that's the other alternative. One of our next questions is going to be focused around what happens when you wait. Vinny Vega, thank you for that follow. Appreciate that. So I do want to kind of talk a little bit about that next. So let's go ahead and change gears here, okay? Prior to ship rentals and in-game purchases, this is before your time, yo-yo, because there was a time when you couldn't rent squat in this game. Yes, you could not rent it, and you could not buy it in-game, okay? You could buy first. Rentals came later, but buying, there were some things you could buy, okay? The FOMO was real, okay? We understood, right, fastcart back then, you know, if you didn't buy it, you couldn't fly it, right? You had to be on somebody else's ship, right? So I'm not saying it justified it. I'm just saying I understand why people spent money on ships, because, you know, if you couldn't rent a Connie, right? You couldn't go in game and buy a Connie. But now you can, right? Most ships, I think CIG said there's 200 ships out there. Only one thing right now I think is not, you can't rent or buy, and that's the Vulture. Okay, other than the new Mirai that just came out, you can rent it right now. But why do you think, yo, why do you think that exists still? You know, why do you think that now that people can rent, if they work hard, they can get the money in game? Why do you think there's still this urgency? I mean, unless it's just for supporting of the project, but I never hear a lot of people said, yeah, dude, would you buy at ISC? Well, you know, I wanted to support the project, so I bought another ship.
Some people do say that.
No, I said most people. I said most people don't say that.
Most people, okay.
I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that's not the first thing that comes out of their mouth, you know? First thing that comes out of their mouth is, yeah, that little ball is fast, it's cute, ooh, I want one. That's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. What do you think, yo?
I don't know if this is a valid argument, but I would say like some people want to play and like have fun, which is the FOMO. Okay. And they have either jobs or like commitments where they can't, you know, stream 24 hours and just, you know, grind credits or reputation. And so that fear might get them to just go ahead and purchase something that they'll have wipe after wipe versus needing to like put in the time to get that.
Now, there's some folks in chat that agree with you and say because of the wipes. I disagree. Because y'all lose a whole lot of stuff during wipes, and what do? You go right back to the game,
go back and do it,
and go back and grind for it again. In fact, a ship gives you a reason to grind for something more than them guns do. So maybe You may be telling yourself that's the reason why. Maybe that is, but you know, it ain't like y'all don't go grind for other stuff when it disappears in the game. So, you know, I'm just kind of curious, you know. And that may be
for some people.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
I mean, yeah, some people probably work weird hours or, you know, have families and stuff that can't play the game too often. And there are things that are way,
that makes sense.
I don't know, they're not too expensive, but like a Carrick or an 890.
Yeah, you got it's gonna take some work.
Money for that, and I play a lot.
Yeah, it's gonna take some work to get to those. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. FC, what do you think? You were around back in the old days when we couldn't rent nothing or buy nothing in game. So what do you think?
So you're asking why the ship rentals? Is this now? Or,
no, I'm saying why is there FOMO? Why do you can get the ships in the game now? Why do people feel like they're missing out?
I could speak for me, but I think for some people it's just.
In other words, why are people still spending money? Why are people spending money when they can get it in the game just by playing in the game?
They want that new shiny thing, and sometimes that promotion that you see on YouTube or what have you just pulls them in, and you know it's the new shiny in some opinions. But can I say one thing?
Sure.
The thing about war bonds versus RSI credit. I think that's a form of like, and I understand why CIG do it because they want to bring in new money, but you know they make everything cheaper when you use real cash versus outside credit. So for me, I think that's a form of FOMO, but I can understand why CIG does it.
I have another point.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the new ships do come out, you can't buy or rent them. For like several months.
So is that a FOMO? Is that a FOMO?
I mean, salvaging is huge.
That's what I mean.
And it's still not purchasable right now in game, I think.
Right. 3 months you got to wait, right? So that 3 months you got to sit and watch everybody else go out and do their salvaging and talk about how much fun they're having, right?
Yeah.
And it's a subscriber flare that takes 3 months too before it appears
before it goes into the game.
The loot crates and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting thing. That the 3 month, the 90-day wait thing, I think is definitely something that drives people. You know, I agree with you, Yo, on that. I think that there are people who literally don't want to wait. In fact, people were hollering on Spectrum about the Vulture not being in the game yet, you know. And people, like you said, salvage is the big thing right now. Okay, fair enough. All right, let's go on to our next one. Oh, this is our own personal confessions coming up here. Have you fallen victim to the fear of missing out, and why? I asked the panelists to tell me if there was something that CIG presented or did that got them like, I got to do it. I'm in with both feet, right? So fastcart, why don't we'll show yours first. Is that okay? Why don't you tell everybody what it is, and then we'll watch it.
Well, I had to go a little history. I had to go background. I'm sorry. I had to go back through my hangar log to see how many ships I actually bought during the concept. And to my surprise, there were like over half a dozen ships that I've actually bought during concept. And for me, in my mind, I was like, oh, you know what? I always wait like a week before I buy a ship. Nope. Sometimes I buy it on day one, but this is one of them. So this is the Nox. And actually, part of FOMO, I got the Nox Kui, the rare one, because you know that one doesn't come around. So that is a FOMO. But yeah, the Nox for me.
All right, let's take a look at it and see what got you so excited. Woo. It's loud.
No sound. Yeah.
No sound? Then I need to crank that up a little bit. I'll make sure I have it cranked up for the next one. All right. So, FC, what about that? You know, I mean, every commercial strikes people differently.
And fast.
Is that?
It was so shiny and fast. All it had to do was be painted red, and then I would be like, oh.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean, back then, this came out, I want to say 2017, I believe.
Okay.
But this is only the second vehicle after the Dragonfly. So back then, vehicles like this were rare. And this was made by this had Xeon tech in it too, or was Xeon. So that even made it more rare because it's not human made. So I love the design. I jumped in it with both feet, and I got the Nocturne, the silver one, because that's going to be the
talk about that a little bit, because that's something that people don't know sometimes. That sometimes they'll do that. At that time, they'd say they were limited or whatever, right? When they would come out.
Yeah. So like a couple times, but now to do it in skins, you have like especially a concierge skin that only the Chairman's Club can purchase. But back then they had different variants for different colors because they didn't have the skin feature in a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So they had different colors. Like matter of fact, you had the yellow jacket for the Dragonfly, and that's where I haven't seen the yellow jacket on sale in ages.
Now that one. That's something that maybe Yo-Yo doesn't know about. There are some things that they put out here that we haven't seen since they did it. The Space Kitty one.
No, the
Star Kitty. Star Kitten. That one is super rare. People trying to get that. Fastcart just mentioned the yellow jacket. He talked about the yellow jacket as one. Then there's the consolidated. The Mustang. Which one is it? The Omega?
The Omega. Yeah, I missed that one. That is one that is a true FOMO for me. I wish I had one, because I was like, as soon as I thought about getting one, because they had a promotion with AMD. You buy a graphic card, they give you a coupon for the Mustang Omega. But by the time I got interested in it, they were no longer doing that. So I missed my chance on that one.
Yep. Star Helix, you're right. The X1 Scarlet is also rare, even though the X1's not out. We'll have to see how many people were able to land it. We're going to say FC?
Oh, Bluesy reminded me of one. The UE environmental trench coat. It's like a bunch of Firefly fans are in chat right now, but there was a trench coat that looked like from Firefly, or inspired by Firefly, that they had on sale, and it was very limited. And unfortunately, I got one, but it's really hard to find now. But as far as ships, they used to do a variant for different colors a lot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we see we got your money. Yours was, but you know what? Yours was, at least yours was a decent price. Now, me and Yo-Yo, we both end up going broke for the stuff that we're looking at. Okay.
Well, that's like I said. There were 7 ships that I looked up. The most expensive one being the Odyssey, but we didn't have a promo for that.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. No, the Nox is good. I mean, because you've always been big about racing, so I can see why that tickled your fancy. I get it. Okay.
I will say, I didn't actually buy the Pioneer.
No, you didn't, but it's okay. It's okay.
That is the FOMO, though. Yeah.
Yep. If it's your FOMO, that's still fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about Meg's. Meg, talk about yours and why you picked it.
I picked it because I love the ship. I love the idea of the ship. I think it's going to be a great addition to the game. What really sold it for me, even though I didn't buy it, was I watched the YouTube video for it a while back, and it literally gave me goosebumps. Like, I've seen a lot of the videos, not all of them, right? But like, I've seen a lot of videos that CIG's put out showcasing like the new ships, but the Pioneers, I don't know, the ending was just like crazy. Like, I was screaming with the crowd. It was just like, I felt like, okay, like, yeah, where do I get one? Like, where do I buy?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, no, I can understand. I think everybody reacted that way. That's one of those trailers that they put together that everything just seemed, you know what I mean, just right about it, and even though it was a long time ago, was it 2017 now, I think, when we first saw that, but it's still, one of the most popular vids that's out there. Even to this day. So don't feel bad about digging it.
And people in chat mentioned land claims that when the last time you saw those for sale, but yeah.
Would you buy a Pioneer?
Well, yeah.
That's the only time you can get one now. That's the only time you can get one.
Back then, you could buy a small plot of land for $50 and a bigger plot of twice the size for $100 land. But you can't do that. You have to buy a Pioneer in order to get that. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at Meg's video, guys. Sit back and relax, because this was definitely one to enjoy. Is that volume better?
I think so.
Seems like it. Yeah.
Everybody says yes. Okay. Thanks, guys.
Stars. They've become such a familiar backdrop of our day-to-day life that it's easy to forget what they mean. That one. That little dot right there. That's Bremen. This one over here, that's Saul. Think about that. Just a handful of these dots represents the breadth of human expansion. Another handful, and you've got Bannon, Jean, even Vandul systems. That's everything we've ever known. Every piece of art, every life, ever, right there. In 2 handfuls of dots. Now that means there's so much more to find. Behind every one of those points of light is a story waiting to be discovered. Now in our distant past, it was the province of governments to explore and understand space. The simple launch took resources and money beyond the capacity of even the largest companies. But then RSI introduced the Zeus, and suddenly regular people were able to explore our solar system, allowing an unprecedented amount of knowledge to be discovered. When Nick Croshaw discovered the first jump point, the modified scanner array that allowed him to search for jump points were far too expensive for the civilian market. But once that technology was refined and open to the public, what happened? That's right, an era of expansion that led us from this to this. And that's how it's always been. If you look at all the great eras of human history, whenever innovation has put technology in the hands of the people, it has heralded sweeping discoveries. Because power in the hands of many will always exceed the power of few. So while we can now discover new jump points and systems, there's still one hurdle that remains. That's what to do once you discover a new planet. Because right now, only the largest corporations can terraform and establish settlements. Easy. We haven't simplified terraforming yet. No, I'm here to announce something equally exciting. Albert Einstein, the man who redefined human understanding of the universe, he once said, "The person who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. The person who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one has ever seen before." An insightful sentiment meant to inspire thinkers and creators to push the boundaries of their understanding. It was, after all, said 1,000 years ago, before humanity had left our homeworld. So clearly he was speaking metaphorically. Today, as I just showed you, the unknown is out there, waiting to be discovered. For those that are looking for those places that no one has seen before, they are faced with a daunting challenge. What do you do when you get there? Up until now, it's been the province of governments and corporations to pave the way for sustained habitation. The power has been in the hands of the few. What if I offered you the ability to build your own settlement? bring civilization to the most untamed of frontiers. A colony ship in the truest sense of the word. And I'm not talking about just transporting people, no. I'm talking about an all-in-one solution designed to build modular structures based on your needs. Capable of building a farm or a habitat, a trading post or a mining operation. I mean, that'd be crazy, right? Allow me to introduce the Pioneer. With that, let the new age of colonization begin.
Yeah, right there. You're smiling again, boy. Look at her. No, that's a very, very cool production. I had to joke around and put Elon McConaughey in there because I'm surprised he does not sue them for the sound of his voice, because you know that's who he's supposed to be.
All I gotta say is, all right.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of folks in chat, Meg, who agree with you on that one. That is definitely. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
Like even like the ship aside, like the music, like the atmosphere, how quiet it is, and then just like boom, like the Pioneer, like they killed that. They really did.
Yeah.
That was good.
I think they did something else. Go ahead, fastcart.
I gotta say, after seeing that commercial again, I'm sold. Where can I buy one? Oh wait, I'm not into base building. You almost got me again.
Almost got you to buy one, right? You know, let's talk about the FOMO in that a little bit too. You know, with fastcart's video, definitely the FOMO there would be the idea of speed, right? The idea of the technology, the bike itself, right? I mean, just this very cool looking, futuristic, floating, sleek bike that's got alien technology that takes off and just zooms like crazy. So for speed freaks, you definitely can see where the draw is for them with that, right? The one that you picked though, has a different feel to it. And let me give you my 2 cents on it. What I think what part of the feel is on this video. His speech hits you. Mm-hmm. The ship is kind of like the cream on the cake. You know what I mean? The icing on the cake. Yeah. But the speech is about this idea of exploration and his whole thing about moving it from businesses and corporations into the hands of the people, right? Mm-hmm. That you, the average person, can now have this chance to do something that if you're into space, you know what I mean, that you never thought you could do, right? You know, money is the issue, right? The resources to pull it off. So I think the FOMO that gets created there is, you know, fastcart says, well, I'm not into mining. I mean, you know, doing base building. But he said that at the same time, I am going to need a house and I am going to need a, maybe I'll start thinking about, do I want this thing?
Pioneer, you're happy to help me build a base.
Yeah, Yeah, and I'm sure there are going to be people out there who offer this as a service, right? Or if you're an org, but there's still that thing that makes you actually want to still have that thing. You know what I mean? Even though that sucker's a monster, I do love the fact that they talked about future stuff like farming and all that other stuff he said. I'm like, ooh, there's your big clue that they are going to do that stuff in the game, which I think is pretty cool.
Terraforming,
yeah. Now, Meg, if there's nothing else I want out of this commercial, it's that jacket. I can tell you that. I want that jacket he's wearing. That's what I want. But no, that's a very, very, very cool. Yeah, power to the people, Shady. That's right. But like you said, when that ship comes out at that point, it's just like, bam, they hit you. It's like very, very cool. So, okay.
Well, I think one of the more a tidbit or a trivia about this commercial, I think this is back in 2017. This is when I want to say this is when they first had that new hair tech they came to the game. Because
I
back
think-
then, before then, the hair used to be flatter or not as puffier. So I think they were showing off the new hair tech in its promotion.
I think it was the animation stuff too. Remember when they released all the new facial stuff? Because that's when they did the thing with what's the guy's name? Gary Oldman.
Gene Fleischer.
The thing with Gary Oldman.
Not Todd Poppy. Todd Tracy.
No, but I'm saying when they did the thing with Gary Oldman and they showed us how they were doing the new animation stuff. So I think all of this kind of shot out of that. But you're right. This was one of what we felt at the time. And even now, we look at the animations now, it looks better than even this, But back then, this was like a big deal when we saw it. Okay. So yeah, they created some definite fear of missing out with that one. I'll give you that one, Yo-Yo, for sure. Okay. All right, so I'm sure there are people saying, "Oh, we know what Griff's going to break out." He always talks about the 600i, and that was the one that when he saw that commercial, he didn't care. Yeah, I know. I'm sure there are going to be people who think that that's what I'm going to go with. And I never talk about this ship very much, Fastcart. I rarely ever talk about this ship, but I'm going to bring it today. And I'll tell you why there was FOMO for this for me, even though I already owned it at the time. It was still some FOMO. So I'll show it to you and then I'll tell you why it was FOMO.
Area 18. 2949. Things were changing. You could feel it. And it was Gatsby, the center of it all.
How do you get on Gatsby's list?
Gatsby's it. The name on everybody's lips. You never knew where Gatsby might head off to next, but that was half the fun. No one dared sleep for fear of missing something incredible. In Gatsby's world, nothing was off limits. Unless you were trying to crash the party. No matter where Gatsby may be off to next, whatever mysterious port of call she's heading to, the next time I see her, won't be soon enough.
So I'll give you my 2 cents on why this was FOMO for a ship that I actually owned. Yo-Yo says her FOMO's for a ship she doesn't own. Mine is for one that I did own. The FOMO for me had more to do with something that was said when he said Gatsby, with Gatsby, there's no limits, right? And I was looking at the fact that I could create a space for friends and people to come in and socialize and take them places where they could just relax and stuff. I know that seems boring to some people, but for me, I was like, this is what I want to be able to do with this ship. It's not about having a big ship and fancy and all that, as much as it is seeing my friends and other people get on board and they can just chill and relax while I'm taking them somewhere. That for me is the thing I'm looking forward to in the game. And the challenges of doing that too, right? Because it's going to be dangerous, but at the same time, being able to accomplish it. We know that in the verse, there are these places you can go that are luxury places and stuff. So I want to be able to do that. And so for me, that was the FOMO. Even though the game mechanic's not there yet, the fact that that's where they're looking to go, was my FOMO for the 890 jump. So, yeah.
I'm just noticing there's a lot of stuff in this trail. Well, not just noticing, but it occurred to me while watching just now. There's a lot of stuff in the trailer that you can't really do in game, like hold hand. People can't hold hands in game, and sitting in the hot tub. I don't think you can do that yet. Can you do that yet?
Yeah,
No,
you can sit. You can sit in the hot tub. Yeah, you can sit in the hot tub.
You can.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, you're right. Again, that's why I said even though the game mechanics aren't there, like you can't pop bottles right now, right? You know.
You can't pop bottles.
But my point is they are working toward that happening eventually. I remember when we first got the 890 and when it was in the PTU, you could pick up the glasses and bottles and everything on that ship. When it went live, they glued them suckers down with super bondo, right? I mean, because you can't have all these objects floating around in the verse, but it showed the potential.
The same way.
Yeah, it showed the potential and capability of what they're going to be able to do later on, right? A lot of this was because of persistence and everything else. But again, if they're able to make even just some of what we saw there happen, I'm not talking about the holding hands and stuff, but I'm talking about being able to create a social space where people can go. Was it Verity? It was Verity or somebody actually did do a big social party once where all these people went to it and hung out, and it was really nice. There were about 50 people on there.
Invited.
I saw it. I missed it. I saw it when it was on, right? Anyway, I want to get past that, but you get my point. You know, FOMO can come from a lot of different things, whether you own something, don't own it, but that desire to really be able to experience is real. Okay. All right. Let's.
Can I bring something up real quick? In the spirit of FOMO, the CCU game. That is major FOMO. We were talking about it earlier in chat. I got my Benny Richmond. It was $250, but I actually got it for $240 because of the CCU game. But my best but my best price for the CPU game is that you know how much the 600i exploration ship is, right? That is $475. So back when the Odyssey came out, it had a whole bunch of Warbond CCU that you can buy. You put money into the game, and then give you a CCU that's a higher price than the money that you put in. And that both brings in money for CIG and give you a discount per se. So I was going to try to work my way up to the Odyssey. I had CCU'd my Keeler to the Odyssey before, but I melted that because I knew I can get it for cheaper. So instead of $475 for the 600i, my 600i is actually $270, so almost half price. And that's the CCU game.
So the FOMO there has more to do with savings, right? Being able to take advantage of opportunities to save money.
Because I was doing IAE, and IAE is only once a year. So
yeah. I did it 1 year. I don't know if IAE still lets you do this, but IAE at one point I had ships that had different insurance times on them. You know, like a 3-year, a 5-year, and stuff. In one particular year, and guys, you guys have to. I haven't done this in a while. That's why I'm asking. That particular year that I did it, I could melt stuff for that price and then buy it back with the 10-year IAE insurance with store credit. With store credit, I didn't lose anything. All I did was melt and buy it right back, and I got the 10 years out of it. So that was, that was FOMO for me, right? Being able to take advantage of getting the better insurance policies didn't cost me anything to do it, and I felt better about it after. I didn't have to. I did, Okay. All right. Let's go on to our next question. All right. Let me go to Yo-Yo on this one. From 1 to 10, how would you rate CIG's marketing campaign? What are its strengths and what are its weaknesses? So give me the number 1 to 10, how you would rate it. 10 being best, 1 being horrible. Where would you land it?
I want to say 10, but I'll go with a safe 9.
Okay. And tell us why.
I feel like their videos, their advertising, their posts, they just do everything so well, in my opinion. Honestly, it's scary how better it is. Like, I'm not here to hate on the game, but like the game's somewhat, it's an alpha, like it's a bit buggy, but they're killing it in regards to like trying to get us to pay money for these ships and vehicles and stuff like that.
Even with the rumors, even with the bad stories, the bad press, the bugs. Okay.
Yeah, like they do such a good job. I would say the weakness, I don't even know if it's a weakness, but because I can't really think of any weaknesses. Obviously, like I don't really look into this side of CIG too much. The financial side of things, and I try to stay from like purchasing too many things. But I would say the weakness is advertising that it's like this. And again, I really hate when people talk like badly about the game, but like advertising that like 319 is live and playable, or like maybe it wasn't 319, maybe it was 318, and man, that was such a bad time for the game. Coming from a person who put like many hours in when that dropped, it was just that's probably the only time. I'm sure there are other times, but that was the one time I feel like I was like, this advertisement is false.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, like I really think their marketing and campaign is great. It's phenomenal. Like I showed one, I gave you the Pioneers one example, but I mean, you showed the 890. We see the X1, right? There's so many videos out there, and they do such a good job. And even with like Inside Star Citizen, like when they bring the developers on, it just like shows us that like they're not just selling things to us. They're showing us that like it's more than just like the game. Like people are actually putting in the work to make these things. Like this, here's the face of the developer who created the Fury. Just like things like that. I think they do a really good job of like making this more about less than like money, but more so the thought of the game and how it will be in the future. Like we're looking towards the end and continuing to like support the project,
right?
And so like when they do things like ISC and stuff like that, I really think that even though it's not like a video for like the Pioneer, it's still, in my opinion, like shows us. I don't know what I'm trying to say really, but
no. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And Gladestone, yeah, admittedly, you already know how long Yo-Yo's been around. That's why I say she's on here with the old heads. From her experience in the time that she's been here, she hasn't seen that. A lot of us were around in the early days when CIG they're going to do something or try to do something, and sometimes they accomplished it, sometimes they didn't accomplish it. The later people are into this project, obviously they're seeing the shinier and more refined side of what happened. They weren't around in the rough days, so that's just a natural thing. And from her perspective, she says, yeah, she did call out something. The 318 was a fiasco. You know, she was around for that, so she can speak to that. She can't speak to something that happened back in 2.6 when we sat around for a year waiting for the game to come out, you know. So that's where she's at, and that's fine, you know. Now, you talk to old dinosaurs like me and fastcart, we can start naming off a whole bunch of crazy stuff, right? So, FC, let me go to you. From 1 to 10, how would you rate CIG's marketing campaign?
I'd give it a 7.
Okay.
I want to say it's still above some of the mobile marketing that you see, because I mean mobile is really predatory. So I don't see them. I don't see CIG being predatory per se.
But you know there are people who say they are predatory. You know that.
Yeah, some people who will say that, but I mean, I think it's relative in my opinion compared to how mobile games are.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you showed several great examples. The Pioneer commercial, the 890 commercial, the Galaxy commercial. That was a good one, and that was one of the more recent ones. But I mean, CID really had their finger on the pulse when it comes to what game is won, especially in our community. And you know, I follow the development. You know, like people love to know about their lore. Some people want to know how CID smash bugs. That used to be a whole thing back in the day. I'm a SIP person. I'm a SIP shape person, so I love seeing how the SIPs are coming together, and so that would bring me into the development of the game.
So what do you think? What are their strengths for you, and what are their weaknesses?
Okay, so that is strength, but Yo-Yo she kind of stole my answer when it comes to weekends. There's like that whole 318 thing where they're showing YouTube videos on YouTube, saying playable now, and sometimes people don't see the fine print saying, you know, alpha or what have you. But so she already covered that. But I'm gonna say, the negative press, especially like, you know, for us being an old head, places like Massively, places like Forbes.
But that's not their weakness. That's not CIG's weakness, though.
I mean,
is it?
It's not really. But they don't really have a. They do contribute to it, but it's like. It's not on purpose, but it's not something that they can help. But I do see it as something. I don't know. I'm not sure how CIG could really improve upon that, because I mean the negative press it hasn't been as great as it was used to, like say 5 or 6 years ago. But so yeah, but definitely like. Especially like you said, 218 they didn't have a great release. Someone in chat said there's all Invictus commercials on YouTube now. So thankfully, 219 is in a better playable state now compared to 318.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You know, I have mixed feelings about advertising. Like with right now with okay, first of all, there was let's go back a little bit in the history, right? Before 2012, PC space games were dead. There really wasn't very much stuff around.
EVE Online was that.
Yeah, EVE Online was around. Some of us were playing Star Wars Galaxies from like 2004 or 5. That ran for a few years. But the whole space genre had kind of fallen off, right? Because consoles became a big thing. PC, people had kind of stepped away from it. People were going more toward the World of Warcraft, stuff like that. So when 2012 came around and both Star Citizen and Elite both decided, which were old dogs from the old days, they kind of brought back the nostalgia of the space game and said, hey, we're back and we're going to bring, space games back again. And it incited a lot of people who remembered those games. And all of a sudden you had No Man's Sky coming out. You had a space, I can't think it's Far Space, whatever. A lot of different space games just started coming out, right? All of a sudden, right? So it created a fear of, this new genre, and people wanted to get on board. But because it was Chris Roberts and because it was early access and because it was crowdfunded, there was this idea of getting on board, right? We want to get in at the beginning of this thing. And of course, there's all the perks and the things that they're offering, and people wanted to be like the first ones in. There were some people, even myself, I waited. I wish I hadn't, but that's in retrospect. But I waited a while before I got into it because I was skeptical about the whole crowdfunding thing back in those days, right? But there were a lot of people who jumped in, like right from the very, very beginning, getting into this thing. And so the reason why I'm saying that is because there has been this curve over the years of how people have looked at the way CIG has marketed itself. A lot of stuff. We used to tell people, you've heard this before, people say Chris Roberts should stop saying stuff or stop that. That's because he would be projecting things as ideas out there into the ether. And of course, people were hungry for it. They wanted to hear it. And then when things didn't happen within a certain time frame or didn't happen at all, well, then people went up in arms over it, right? So what has happened over the years is that they've been really particular about what they share with us. And that's a good thing. But there is a side of that where there are people who still feel that they want to know more. And CIG has had to walk this really weird path when it comes down to how much information do they share. If they share too little, people say they're not being transparent. If they share too much and it don't deliver, then people say they lied to us. And so there's this weird space that they're in with what they can share. To me,
and to your point, this is why the roadmap has been shortened to 1 quarter instead of going out to a year like they used to.
Yeah, because that year thing was when stuff would change or get dropped off, people they said they were going to do this and now they're not. or they sat there for 8 months thinking it was coming and then it gets taken off. There's disappointment that comes out of it. So for me, their strengths, definitely their marketing. If I gave them a number for marketing, I would give them an 8. I would give them an 8. I'd almost give them a 9. Yo-Yo's giving them a 9. I'm going to give them an 8. Fastcart gave them a 7.
Give them a 7. So the average is 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them an 8. And the reason why I'm giving them an 8 is this, because their marketing, very polished, very well done, but it definitely feeds into impressions that if people don't know any better, that when we watch that trailer, that those are things you can do in the game, right? And to a certain degree, much of what's in those trailers you can do. But let's go back, let's look at the Vulture. When the Vulture came out and they put out the commercial for it, not only did it show the beams that were hull scraping, it showed them slicing a piece of metal off the ship, and it showed a tractor beam come on and suck it into the maw of the thing with a grinder. That we who've been around know that's coming. But for somebody who saw that commercial, even if it said early access, people's visuals are going to be what they think is existing in the game. And they're going to come in thinking, I can do that with my Vulture right now. So it's a weird space, right? Because they're showing the potential. And those of us who understand that, we're like, okay, that's what it's going to be able to do. But if you don't know any better, you can get into this feeling, man, they fooled me. What were you going to say, Fastcart?
And part of the reason why I gave it a 7 instead of a higher number, because a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot, but quite a few people in the community like to say the CID even play the game. They don't know anything. They don't even play that game. And my argument to that is that I think CID developers play the game, but maybe their marketing people, a marketing team, try to foresee or predict the future as to what's coming, and I think that is part of what
I'm going to push back on that a little bit. Trust me, they sit around and round table with each other all the time. Chris, everybody has to see those commercials. It's not like the marketing team cuts a commercial and somebody up above, like a Sean Tracy or whoever, doesn't see that stuff before it goes out. They see it, and trust me, they know what they're doing. They're pushing the limit on what they can do, and as consumers, we also have to be smart enough to say, just like somebody asked Nihilist, my buddy Nihilist the other day, is he going to buy the Mirai? Right? It's at a great price, right? Cheaper than most people thought it was going to be. You know what he said? I'm going to wait till the weekend. I'll wait till the event is over with because I want to see what else happens this week. He's also thinking about if he's going to buy it, what will he do with it, right? There's a certain discipline as a consumer that he's saying, this same ship is going to be up for the same price next weekend. Ain't nothing changing. I can wait, right? So as a consumer, he's looking at it from a different position where some other people are like, I know that's what I want. I don't have to wait till next week. I've test floated it. I rented it. It's great. Then you got idiots like me who didn't test fly it and bought it anyway, and then went out and test flied it, right? I mean, you got these different aspects of it. I didn't think I want one. I really didn't think I want one. You know what made me buy it? Take a guess what made me buy it. Because remember I told you that was going to be 60 to 80 bucks.
Right.
What made me buy it? The price. Two for 95. 2 for 95. And I was like, but at that price, no brainer. That's how I felt.
I got bad news for you. You got the links coming out too. So
no, there's no bad news for that because I got a Phoenix, so I get the links for free. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that.
I have to applaud Nihilist for his discipline because I didn't have that when the Odyssey came out. Now I learned my lesson, so I have it now. But the Odyssey taught me that lesson. Yeah, the Odyssey is going to be everything. Like CID didn't say this. It was in my head. The Odyssey is going to have refining, it's going to have mining, it's going to have exploration. It's going to be tough because it's made by Miss. It looked good for a misstep. So I was like, oh yeah, Odyssey. And yeah, it turned out some of the things I thought were true were not true. So yeah. A week sounded good.
Yeah. So that the strength is there, like you said, Yo, their trailers, their commercials they're always great, right? I haven't seen a stinky commercial for even if it's a ship I don't care about, they still make really good commercials and trailers, right? Doing the stuff with Jax and all that stuff. IAE, they do a great job with that stuff. It makes you lick your lips every time, right? But the weaknesses for me are communication. I still think that the communication is something that they still have to walk. Sometimes they get it right. A lot of times they get it right. I don't fault them and say they don't get to me. Obviously we know they give way more communication than most developers do, most companies do, most publishers do. But there is a certain, remember when the E series came out? You're just talking about the spirits, Meg. The numbers were wrong on the cargo and stuff. And I was like, how did y'all mess that up? Y'all put out the brochure and everything, and the numbers were wrong. And it's like, yeah, that's not a mistake. That should not have happened. If somebody rushing, somebody what? But that when people are spending money like that, and that things like how many SCU a ship can carry means so much to players, and then you put that information out and it's bad, it's like,
Not only did they have to fix the numbers once, they had to fix it twice because the size was wrong too for the spirit. So yeah, they had to fix it twice.
Yep.
And I also have to applaud CIG for the transparency. Some people complain about it, saying that they're not transparent enough. But this, when the project first started, they were saying that they wanted to be a open development. And I think in people's mind, people may not understand what open development means for CIG. They think of open development and say, give us everything. We want to know what Squadron 42 is about. We want to know the end game. We want to know what is the final shot of Squadron 42. I'm like, no. That's not what transparency or open development means for CIG.
Exactly.
They want people to enjoy what's coming out without spoilers.
Exactly.
So I'm okay with that aspect, but I can see how people may not be.
Yeah. Howdy there, Cataclysm. Good to see you. All right, let's take a look at our next question. Question number 7. In your opinion, let me go to you on this one, Fastcart, first. In your opinion, what Star Citizen event brings the most FOMO from players? What fear of missing out? Is there anything? It could be in game or out of game. In game or out of game.
Out of game.
In game, out of game. Either way.
Yeah. Okay. So I had 2 different answers because I was afraid someone was going to steal mine, so I had to back up just in case.
So just do one. Just do one, and then do yo-yo. Then we'll come back.
I'm gonna use my backup because I think other people will take my primary answer. So I'm gonna say CitizenCon.
Okay.
So
Stole mine.
Oh, really? All right. So CitizenCon, because they had the big trailer that everyone's looking forward to, and like that last year it was the Odyssey. The Pioneer was the CitizenCon trailer for 2017. So I think my answer is going to be CitizenCon, because it's a big event, happens once a year. October, we have one coming this October, and a physical one, finally, thankfully. And so yeah, CitizenCon.
Okay, Meg, what about you?
I think I'll say my in-game one. I think Yeah.
Why particular that one?
Because that's when it's not just like Invictus or Alien Week, like it's everything, right? Unless
yeah, but that's the one that sells the most of everything at. Yeah,
that's the one that makes the most, and that was gonna be my primary answer, but I figured I'll someone else have it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, both of those are definitely good. For the players, I'm going to say a patch update. When there's a major branch update, not the small ones, you know what I mean? But when we go from 317 to 318 or 318 to 19, you get folks who ain't been around for 2-3 years that start showing up, people you ain't seen in a while, and it's like, oh yeah, I heard there's a new patch out, I heard 319 is out, and these players may not even be thinking about Star Citizen, but then they hear a patch is coming out, and there's that fear of missing out on what's new, what's coming out, what did I miss out on, and whether that lasts for a couple of weeks or whether it lasts for a couple of months or whatever. There's a little bit of hype that gets built around when we're crossing a bridge, not a point, not a 3.2 or whatever, 18.2. When we go from 19 to 20 to 4.0. To me, those are big moments where people actually look forward to knowing that there's something significant changing in the game, and folks start coming out the woodwork when that happens. But I think the same thing happens with definitely with IAE. Plenty of people now save up. People have kind of learned to yo-yo, because back in the day we would have these random sales throughout the year, but now it's kind of whittled itself down to Invictus, Alien Week, IAE. There used to be a holiday sale back in the day, at the end of
That
the
was
year.
December.
Yeah.
They still kind of hard, but it's much smaller than what it used to be.
Yeah, that used to be a big one that would happen. And then one year they did like the anniversary sale, and CitizenCon was like in November. It was a weird year where CitizenCon ran late.
2018.
Yeah, versus the anniversary date or whatever. I forget.
19, sorry, 19.
IAE. Yeah, there was that used to be called an anniversary sale. But I don't know, did that become IAE, the anniversary sale? That pretty much became the anniversary
Pretty
sale,
much,
right?
yeah. I don't want to say they combine it, because we still have the late December Christmas sale.
Yeah, but that's not the
holiday
anniversary sale, though. I'm saying that's not the anniversary. The anniversary was October.
CitizenCon, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Can I share a story with regard to Pat? Because
Sure.
you do make an excellent point. So I want to say PAX East 2018. We were doing a bunch of this and planning a bunch of this and everything like that. But on the showroom floor of PAX East, y'all are familiar with Linus Tech Tips.
Mm-hmm.
I met Luke from Linus Tech Tips on the showroom floor. I don't know people who are familiar with Luke, but he just started something back there. So I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And we got to talking about Star Citizen, and he asked me. So he said he had been in the game for a while. He was coming back in, and I asked him, "Well, what ship do you have?" And he started listing out his ships. Well, that ship is not in yet, so you might want to wait. So I was like, "So this is the segue to what Griffin was talking about. People do wait, even big names wait for particular paths because." Their profession may be coming in, or the ship that they have may be coming in. So yeah.
Okay, fair enough. All righty, let's hit this last. This is our last of our questions here. Backers of Star Citizen are known for swearing that they're not going to spend any more money on the game. Why do we keep coming back? Why do we keep spending money? Yo. Why? We know the ships are going to be in the game, and we say, "Oh, I've spent enough. I'm not putting any more money in. I got to see more of the game." Till they fix that, fix those elevators. I'm not giving them another dime. What's your thoughts?
About spending more money, I don't know. I mean, for me, the reason I'll keep coming back is just the community.
Okay.
Being able to play with my friends, like, I feel like this has become my main game. It's like what I look forward to doing after work.
Okay.
So if that means that, I mean, I know some of my friends have the means to be able to get some ships, or they already have like the ships that they've had for a long time. Yeah, just being able to use people's things. Like, some people don't have or are not used to playing with other people. I'm one of those. Like, I'm blessed with being able to play with a bunch of people now, but like, you're used to having, like, for example, like, someone could have an 890 but no one in it, and now, like, you have your 890 with a bunch of people in it, so it's just like different. Like, you actually have somebody to, like, your ships have more use than just PNG. So, like, community for sure for me.
Nice.
It makes the purchase more worth it because it's being used like it daily, in my opinion, like every day for hours. It's not just like sitting there, I guess. Yeah. So, like, yeah, as long as it's like, and yeah. I think that's basically my point.
Well, I'm glad
as long as, like, the things are being used.
I'm glad you just said that, because it's not just about money, right? I mean, there's a lot of things going on with Star Citizen. Let's just talk about its brokenness, right? People still kept coming back, right? Even though they know it was busted, right?
Patch wipes, people still coming back.
Yeah, patch wipes.
The wipe.
Yeah, people keep coming back. Even in well, let me ask you this, yo. Is FOMO tied to that at all? Not being around? Because some people actually break off and, you know what I mean? They're gone for months, and other people come back every day, because you mentioned about the social dynamic for you, which is great. Do you think that there's also the feeling of missing out on talking with people or stuff like that too?
Yeah, I'm experiencing that, like, now. Yeah, definitely big time. Just like if I'm not there, then, like, I can't experience the fun that others are having right now. or like definitely that.
Okay.
Yeah.
FC, what about you?
I really love yoyoMeg's answer. I wish I could steal it, but I'm gonna come up with a different one. So I'm gonna say, as content creators, many content creators feel you got to spend money to know what's up and new in the game. You gotta to be ahead of the curve. So you want to know, like the Mariah is out. You want to know how it flies, how it feels, and stuff like that. For me, it's the LTI token. You know, I could care less about some of the other stuff. I just want that new shiny ILTI token in case there's something else I want to put into my fleet, because they're iterating and changing the game almost every patch. So maybe something like I had a vulture, but I melted it because I'm not sure how heavy I'm into salvaging I'm going to be. But maybe later on, I'm going to get a vulture back, and the vulture I had is no longer in my buyback. So I have to create a new LTI vulture.
Yeah.
So for me, that's one thing. And also, that CCU game, it's real. I mean, I don't care what other people tell you. CCU game, I love it.
That's what makes you come back.
Enough of it. Yeah, I love it.
Being able to save money, and that helps bring you back every time, an opportunity to tighten it up a little bit more, even financially.
Kavion said, FC, at some point you're going to have more LTI tokens than SHIP. Not anymore. Not anymore.
He's been whittling them down over the years. He's been whittling it down. You know, I want to say something to DCI out there, Compendium. DCI, you know, we're starting to play together on Saturday nights. We were out last night, so you're more than welcome to join us if you want to come out and hang out with some folks. You know, for me, I talked earlier about me buying the Mirai, and I said that the price was right. But let me explain when I say the price was right. There are some things, I've said this before on the show, there are a lot of things that I bought in the game that I buy because I want to be able to experience it with other people. Like you were saying, Meg, you know, the experience of doing stuff with other people makes it, there's something about that. You know what I mean? It's just very cool, right? But because I am in an org, and because I'm in Test Squadron, I don't have that many ships that I can lend toward the org side of things. And so that ship in particular is one that, to me, if I'm going to lend my whatever I can to the org and go out and have fun with everybody, because we know that that's like orgs are going to load those things up into a caterpillar or whatever and launch them out. I was like, hey, I can do this. You know, this is something I feel like I can contribute in. Fastcart, you already know this. I told you, for me, doing bomber stuff, bomb squadron stuff is a big thing for me. So that's why I bought both of them, because I want to have both the one that does the missiles and bombs, and I've also got the other one as a fighter. So that was part of my motivation for that. But what keeps me coming back, I want to say, is something that Meg touched on, because we've been in here a long time now. This is like year 10 or something like that for me, being around the community. And I would definitely say that, Fastcard, you've said this before about CitizenCon, because a lot of times we try to tell people, if you can go to CitizenCon, go to CitizenCon, because it's not about the ship sales. What you find out about is about the people. And when you go, I honestly would tell you that 60% of the experience, not 50%, 60%, some people maybe even 70%, but I would say at least 60%. Yeah, 60% of it is the experience of meeting these people, the camaraderie that goes on there, you know, putting faces to names, meeting new people, learning things, getting to meet the developers, finding out that person you've been looking on at ISC or SCL is actually a real person that will actually sit there and talk with you for 15, 20 minutes about the game. All that stuff makes this whole thing worthwhile, for lack of a better way of putting it. I sit in Discord in my org, and there are people that I've known there for years. And it's funny to think about it that way. But I mean, I know these people not just in the sense of us, what their game name is, but I know their real name, and I know where they live. And we talk about family, and we talk about when we're sick or when we do this. There's a whole lot of things that keep me coming back that have nothing to do with the money or even the FOMO. The FOMO that's created there is, like you said, Meg, missing out on other people's lives and what's going on, you know, checking in with them every day and asking, how was work? You know, all that stuff can be tied in just as much as the excitement of going to Invictus or IAE or even CitizenCon. So There's just a lot that this game has done that, unlike any other game, you know, I've played a lot of games over the years, but this one has a total dedication level for me, on a whole nother level than any other game. And I've run orgs before and been in other stuff, but this one here, no matter what I go play, I always come back. I don't care what it is. Even when the sucker was busted in 318, I was still coming back even then, you know. So that's my speech on that.
And usually I'm the one who's the community guy and stuff and say stuff like that. But this time I decided to be more materialistic. But to bring it back to what Griffin and Meg are saying, I'm going to say Bar Citizens are also a great event. Especially you can find one locally. Check barcitizens.sc to see if there's something locally, or if there isn't one locally, you can try to put one together yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, the community is great and it does keep me coming back. But I do love the community.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There's one other thing, Meg, I want to say to you. This is the old man talking. And I've said this on the show before. Some of us have lived long enough to see innovation happen in gaming. It doesn't happen that often, you know, where literally the way we play games and the way we look at games literally changes in the industry. I don't know if Star Citizen is going to be that. It may not be, but I will say this, it's the closest thing to seeing it happen, because I've lived through that happening 3 or 4 times with gaming. Gaming consoles, for example, were something that did that, you know, and I'm not talking about Xboxes, you know, or PlayStations. I'm talking about the Magnavox Odyssey back in the 1970s, you know, the Atari 2600. You know, there was that put games, that what used to happen back then, Yo-Yo, was that's when you had to go to the arcade to play a game. But now you could play that arcade game in your house. That was a big deal. You know what I mean? And the industry changed because of that, right? When games went to 632, I remember, wait a minute, Yo-Yo, I remember when it was 16-bit, but 8-bit, okay? But when you could do that, when sound cards came out, when there was sound on a computer, that was, you know, there was, you know, or when we went from LAN parties to being able to go online and connect with people.
I got one for you, Griffin.
Yeah.
The Voodoo card. The 3D band seed.
Voodoo.
The first time you had to put a physical 3D card into your PC in order to play games that was more true to life.
Absolutely. When games went from being tabletop to being able to play on your computer, right? When Dungeons and Dragons was strictly having a book and pages and dice to now being able to, there's those changes like that happen, right? And I think you're living in a time where it's been a while since there's been a high level of changing the way games are looked at. I'm hoping that Star Citizen is that for you, for me, for all of us, that we actually, because we already see the crowdfunding thing, right? That's been something new that we've never seen at this level, right? Where people have paid for a video game at this. That was a change, right? And depending on how it goes, right? If it fails, then it's going to be a negative in history. But if it's successful, right, then it changes the way independent people can look at how games can be developed and how games can be published. I'm hoping that technologically, what CIG does that exact same thing. Now, it may not happen, but I am hoping, and that is something that makes me come back. The fear of missing out on seeing that for me is also a big deal. I want to be a part of that, where gaming changes and I can actually say, yeah, I was a part of that change. Because a lot of those other changes, I lived through them, but I wasn't, you know, I had no hand in it. You know what I'm saying? This one, I've got a hand in, and I hope that really does happen in time.
I do have to compliment CIG and Star Citizen and Squadron 42 for that matter for bringing back the space sim. But like you said, in 2012, there was a dearth of space game back then. But you know, you have Starfield coming out, what have you. Even Call of Duty tried to do that one Call of Duty that was in space. So I think that was Star Citizen inspired. So I think we can credit CIG and Chris Roberts especially for bringing that back to the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. Meg, I'm laughing at your comment, which is about a PC with no sound. Yes, all we had was beeps and boops back then. That's all there was. There was no sound. I know it's kind of scary to think about that, but It was pretty bad back in those days. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's wild to think that it was ever like that. Obviously, I've never known a life like that. But
Yeah. And not that long ago. Not that long ago,
yeah.
believe it or not. Not that long ago.
And it's crazy because where are we going to be in that much time in the future?
Yeah.
Like, things are definitely changing for sure.
Yeah.
Meg,
definitely.
I would recommend for you is watching a Microsoft Flight Simulator timeline.
Oh, God, that'll
when
scare you.
The first one to the most recent one, to give you an idea of how much we progressed. I think that's a good example.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll make you be glad you were born when you were born. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great, guys. Yeah, the fear of missing out. Are you going to buy a javelin? You see the picture up there, Fastcart. I put it up there for you. Are you going to have a fear of missing out on getting a javelin?
I told you my story about the Kraken privateer, because that would be the grown person version of the BMM. But I can't say for $2,000 I was gonna do that one. So no, that was one fear of missing out, because they're like, oh yeah, the privateer. Ooh, that's gonna be great. Ooh, I might have to get one. $2,000. I'm good. I'll stick with my BMM thing here.
Yeah, it sounds like you were about the fear of missing money at that point instead of worrying about missing out, huh? Okay, fair enough. All right, well, listen, we've got a little treat for you guys today. We had on Thursday, Fastcart premiered a trailer for a project that New Soul is working on called The Crew. And we know some of you guys didn't get a chance to see it, so we wanted to show that to you all today. This is their beginnings. This isn't the final thing, but just to give you an idea of a project that they've been working on for several months, and we got a chance to show it on Thursday. And we're going to show it to you again now. So check it out.
From their home, they research. Relax. Prepare for combat in extreme situations. Gracefulness, they are fearless, bold, scientific. Courage. Overcoming impossible odds in the face of the unknown.
train and answer to the Verse's profound calls. They signify adventure, exploration, and discovery with a wealth of knowledge. When it comes to answering the call, they each have their own set of skills and abilities.
Furthermore, they are star citizens, so get to know the crew.
Alrighty, that was the crew from New Soul, and we are looking forward to seeing where this project of theirs goes. Fastcart, you got to premiere this on Thursday. It was a positive reaction to it. We got to see where these guys are going to take things. Or they've expanded beyond the music realm. Now they've kind of gone to a whole media piece here, right?
Yeah, man, they're moving into cinema, so I wish them luck. I know it's not easy.
Yeah, okay.
Good luck with it. I couldn't do it, but I wish them all the best for their endeavor.
Yeah, Meg, you hadn't seen this, right? Because you didn't see. You missed it. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have to. Y'all got to get Meg in there. Y'all get Meg in there. All right. Not enough on the crew. We do have a couple of questions that I missed earlier, so let me hit those real fast. This is from Big Black Gaming. He says, as a crowdfunding funded enterprise, could CIG survive without trying to maximize the FOMO sensibility in their marketing and communications? Could they do less in this area and still survive? Meg, what do you think? Do you think that CIG could pull back a little bit with some of the things we talked about that they do that kind of incentivizes people to buy and still survive? Let's talk about like those commercials. We talked about them putting the YouTube commercials out. What do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, people, I mean, I guess I don't really know like the breakdown of the audience, right? Like, is it a lot more older people or like younger people? Because
the demographic is supposed to be something like, what is it, Fastcart, like 23 to 40 or something like that, or 38, something like that?
It depends on what time frame. Like early on in the development, it was mostly a more mature demographic. But I think as time goes on, it's becoming more and more younger, in my opinion.
As it becomes younger, I think it's even more important that they keep putting content out like that. Okay. Because we're very content-focused people. We've got short attention spans, so
need to keep seeing it. Need to keep seeing something, huh?
Yeah, okay. And especially like it'll hit more audiences. Like I don't know if Star Citizen posts on TikTok or anything, but I bet you if they started, they do. Yeah,
they do.
Like,
they're blowing up on TikTok.
Yeah, yep. I bet they'll get a lot of people. Like I'll be honest, this game's been around for a long time, and I first heard about it like December 2021, and I'm surprised because I was a gamer the entire time growing up. So like it's obviously not hitting everybody. Not everybody knows about this game, so they really, I think they're not, I wouldn't say they're not doing enough. I just don't think that they've reached everyone yet.
And that might be, there may be some reasons to that, because they've metered out how they put their information out to a certain degree. There hasn't been any official, in fact, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fastcart, these trailers that we've seen recently on YouTube are what I think their first real advertising. I'm not talking about when they put out ship trailers.
Yeah,
I'm talking about when I go on YouTube to look at something and a freaking Star Citizen commercial comes on. They had not been doing that. So
I think they did it a little bit, but not to the extent that they're doing it recently.
Okay, I don't ever remember seeing one of them commercials pop up on YouTube. I maybe you do, but I don't remember seeing them. But to your point, Yo-Yo, they within the last year or so, they've really been starting to do the TikTok thing. They've been blowing up on there. They've been using other forms of social media, but I think that I think some of their blasts are to get people, like when they do free flies and stuff, it's not just to do a free fly, but it's actually to get people in outside of us to help stress the servers and do stuff in the game. Of course, that seems dangerous to us because we kind of think when they come in and the game is broken, it would turn people off. But evidently, whatever that turn off level is versus what they get in results is worth it because they do it, right? If it was hurting them, they wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
One thing I'll say is, according to the crowdfunding spreadsheet, the car from Relay and I help maintain it. I don't do much. I just put in data once in a while. But according to that spreadsheet, before Invictus Week, they were getting maybe 1,000 or 1,500 new accounts per day. On the first day of Invictus, got nearly 4,500 new accounts. And yesterday they got over 10,000 new accounts. So people are coming in to try the game and big numbers. Yeah, I was surprised by that number too. But I think on the whole being able to survive thing, I think the key word here for me is surviving versus thriving.
Yeah.
Yes, if they pull back, they could probably survive. But I think now what they're currently doing is thriving.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion.
Okay, cool.
I agree.
All right, another one from Pops in Space here. The Pioneer was sold with limited stock and land claim. Was CIG setting people up for FOMO to buy that ship when they always say all information is subject to change during development? The fear of not having a home or a base. No, Pops, I would say no, because like fastcart said earlier, when the ship went on sale initially, they didn't just sell the ship, they sold land. And there were a lot of people who did buy land claims back then. Now, they've only done it, fastcart, if I remember correctly, you told me only twice that they opened up for land claims, right?
As far as I know.
Yeah, where they literally sold them separate of the Pioneer. Now, let me tell you something funny though, Pops. When they did that, the gaming industry went ape. They were like, oh, not only are they selling virtual ships, now they're selling virtual planets. I mean, they went nuts that CIG did that.
And also for $50 or $100.
Yeah, $50 or $100.
It's a virtual piece of land. They couldn't sell it for cheaper.
Yeah.
That was the argument.
Or,
and now you have...
Wait, before you even talk about cheaper, fastcart, it wasn't about cheaper. It was about they haven't delivered ships. How they going to start pushing out land too?
Right, yeah.
You know, that's what they really were barking about. But you're right, price was a factor. Now, here's the irony of that. Within 3 years of that, other games like Earth 2 and a bunch of other ones started selling virtual real estate, and people swallowed it up like crazy for thousands of dollars.
Didn't hear squat about it.
And didn't hear nothing about it. Not a peep about it, right? Other games that said they're going to be the metaverse and they're going to build this, guess now it's so common. You know, we've talked about Star Atlas before. Star Atlas sells ships for $1 million. They have $1 million virtual ship. They have a 100,000 virtual ship.
And remember back when the Legatus pack, when it first came out, was $27,000. Now it's 42, but back when it was $27,000, they say, "Oh, CIG is selling a package for $27,000."
Yeah.
And that was before they changed the website, so people could see that and say, "Oh, I got to buy something for $27,000." But that was before they put a limit on saying, "Oh, if you're concierge or certain level concierge, you won't even see that."
Yeah.
But yeah, back then. But then now, Star Atlas comes along. Where's the outrage?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. Well, no, that's true, Kai. Star Atlas did not sell those ships that they put out for $1 million. None of them sold. But guess what?
Yeah.
Those ones for 100,000 sold. Those ones for 50,000 sold. Those ones for 30,000 sold. And like fastcart said, 27,000 for a Legatus pack. People were hollering. And these guys dropped ships that were NFTs. They're NFTs, mind you. There's a difference. But still, they dropped them for 50,000, and nobody squawked about it. Now, that's not what's happening now, because of course y'all know the market flipped a little bit. But my point is that, again, Meg, we were talking about earlier about how Star Citizen kind of introduced some things industry-wise that have become, to a certain degree, not a big deal now. Maybe when they did it, people were hollering about it. But now, virtual land's not a big deal anymore.
And there's still people who call Star Citizen a scam, but you don't hear anything about Star Atlas or anything like that.
Yeah.
From the media, I mean. From private content creators, maybe, but yeah.
Yeah,
from the media, not really.
True. We call it a scam. Yeah, you know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm talking about media, journalists, put it that way. That's what I meant.
Okay, last one from Kavion. Should they change Star Citizen Play Now to Test Now in their marketing? Kavion, let's call it for what it is. We talked about that earlier, but we also went and looked at what they did. If you look at the advertising, it says playable now in the center, but it also says alpha testing, and it also says early access above it and below it. It actually has all three of those on that final page when it comes up. It's just that playable now is in bigger letters and it's in white letters, where the other two lines are exactly Black Sky Legion. They're smaller and they're also colored because your eye gets drawn to the center and the other two are there. Legally, they can say, oh, we said it was, you know.
I was trying to look on the Mirai trailer, and I didn't see the other stuff that mentioned. Maybe it's on the big.
I'm talking about this was the 318. This was the 318 when that came out. The commercial on the commercial. I ain't talking about the trailers now. I'm talking about the commercials that go out on YouTube. They had it because I went and looked at it, and it's on there. But again, you know, some people say gamers don't read. For whatever that means, you know, but they do put it out there, Kavion. They don't just leave it as playable now, but playable now definitely catches your attention because as gamers, that's really what we care about is it playable now?
Kavion, if anything, Kavion, I would say they should make those letters bigger than the small print. That's one thing I would do.
Why would you do that? Opinion. Then you may get people that want to spend money, Fastcart. Come on, get with the program, brother.
Rather people not spend money and avoid a headache than people get into the game with under not false premises, but under, I don't want to say misguided, but
if it's okay, devil's advocate, if it's on the screen, whose fault is that if they don't read it? And it ain't in small print. It ain't in small. It's not like it's unreadable. It ain't like that little thing we click on when we buy a ship that you got to sit there and read 9 lines of text. It is right there. You know, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. The marketing people know what they're doing, right? Okay, so that's it, gang. We have covered everything tonight. We had a great conversation tonight with Yo-Yo and Fastcart. So, FC, why don't you tell everybody about? No, let's let Yo-Yo do it because you always talk about your show. Yo-Yo, tell everybody what Soul talks about, and Fastcart can talk about Soul Voices.
Absolutely. So Soul Talk is a day where you guys can come out onto the show at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know what is what's the topic for Soul Talk. I'm
whatever's going on that week.
Perfect. Well, that's what it is.
She's always streaming, y'all. That's like she don't know. We can't get her on the show because she's streaming. We always rate her because she's streaming.
I know. I'll stop.
No, I'm just teasing. No, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. My apologies.
That's no apologies.
But y'all can come out on Thursdays. Every Thursday.
Yep.
9 p.m. Eastern time.
There you go.
You guys should totally come through for that.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, FC.
I see you go, man. You beat me to it, so I'll let you have that one. But Soul Voice is not a counterpart, but in addition to Soul Talk, where mostly Soul Talk is mostly community. Everyone jump into Discord and have a not a free-for-all discussion, but you know, a lively discussion. But Soul Voices is mostly one-on-one. Griffin brings you in. You talk about some topic from Spectrum, topic from Reddit, or topic from the industry in general, and we cover different topics on what's been going on that week. So that's more one-on-one. But that's Soul Voices, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC.
Okay. And let me give some shout outs real quick before I wrap up the show here. Let's give a shout out to Vinny Vega, who followed Xylone Siastico. I hope I said that right. I know I probably slaughtered it. I'm sorry. Thank you for that follow as well. Jonathan of the People, thank you for that follow. Serrano Bonzari, thank you for the follow. Brood Bacon, thank you for the follow. And Drop Hammer TM, thank you for the follow. We appreciate all of that. Really appreciate it, guys. Go Mob, thanks for dropping that ban. I ain't got to worry about Fastcart. I can get through the show without hearing another joke if I do it fast enough. But I know he's unbanned himself. Anyway, next Sunday, we are going to be covering Invictus. It'll be the 30th. We're going to be wrapping up. Was it 28th, right? 28th. We're going to be talking about all that we've seen during Invictus as we get toward the close of the convention week, and hopefully you guys will be able to join us. We'll let you know what we think about what was newly introduced at Invictus, what CIG shares with us at Invictus, and then of course we'll give you our review of some of the new items that have come out. We'll get to try them out hopefully by then, and we'll give you our feedback on that. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us on next Sunday. Meg, I think you said you're going to be here for that one, right?
I will be here.
Okay, cool. All right. Awesome.
I'm excited.
Awesome. I won't be. Fastcart will be here. I won't be here for that.
I'll be here. They're having a joke war in Twitch.
Are they? It's going back and forth. Yeah, keep burning that money, guys. All right. Anyway, those coins rather. All right. Anyway, that's for what we got going on for next week. Special thanks to everybody who came and hung out with us today. Thank you guys for helping us out with our technical. Like I said, we got a new setup, and hopefully we refined it and made the volume a little bit better for everybody. Special thanks to Fastcart and to Meg for hanging out with me tonight. And we will look forward to seeing you guys at Invictus. Yo, tell people where they can see you. Give a shout out to what you do.
Oh, yeah. You guys can find me twitch.tv/yoyoMeg. Yeah, I stream pretty much every day except for one day of the week, mostly in the evenings. And yeah, try to play with as many people as I can. Just get a bunch of cool people together and see what shenanigans we can get into. So if you guys are ever looking for some people to play with, obviously you can hit up Griffin. Griffin's now playing. Super excited for that. But yeah, feel free to
give a shout out to Griffin
give
too.
a shout out to yourself too. Yeah, but that's where you can find me.
Yeah, y'all know where I'm at.
I'm typing in it right now.
Listen, you guys definitely go over and support Meg. She's one of our newest folks in the community, and she does a real listen for all you old crusties, mad people that are, forgotten what it's like to have fun with the game. Go over and watch Meg. She's exciting. She has fun, and you'll be reminded, and you'll have nostalgia and say, I remember when I was excited like that 8 years ago. So you guys go over and check out Meg on her stream.
What happened to us, Griffin? What happened to us?
I don't know, man. We're just getting to be old guys. Anyway, thank you guys again for being with us tonight, and we will look forward to seeing you guys hopefully next week. Until then, as always, peace, love, and soul. Take care of yourselves. See you soon. Ciao. And
raid.
Is it? Oh, we forgot to do our raid. Oh my God! Yes, we got to do our raid. Wait, let's raid somebody. Who are we raiding? Who did you tell me to raid? Did you tell me somebody?
I said Levon Fan.
Levon Fan, is he up?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Is he? Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I'll check this to make sure, but yeah, he was.
Yeah,
I didn't refresh my thingy here. That's why. So that's my fault.
All right.
Gabs and Levon. We haven't done Gabs in a while, have we? Have we done Gabs? Oh, we did. We did.
We haven't. Yeah, we haven't.
No? Okay, we'll do Gabs. All right. Let's set up the rate for Gabs. All right, gang. Sorry about that. Me and my bad technical stuff here. We're going to send you guys over there with Miss Gabs. When you get over there, make sure you let her know that you came from the Soul Citizens. Give her a shout. Give her a follow if you like what you see. And like we said earlier, take care of yourselves. Peace, love, and soul. We'll see you soon. Ciao. The Gabs wasn't even on.
Yeah, she was on when I looked, but I guess she went off in past 10 minutes. My bad.
No problem. Yeah, and Levon, of course, he's on. Dang. All right. Well, we missed her. Okie dokie, gang. Hang on, let me shut off the stream. I still got the stream going. Jeez. Pete.